I'm so excited about our topic today, and excitement is actually exactly what we are talking about. The reason why I'm so excited to talk about this today is because it is something that all of us have felt at some point in our life, whether that was before we became an entrepreneur or during the process of being an entrepreneur now. There is a level of excitement and motivation and inspiration and drive that is very present when we begin or when we start something new. So we see this a lot with people who are getting started in like a health journey or a fitness journey. It's like, okay, I'm ready to do this thing, and I have all the shoes and the clothes and the tools and the workout plan and the gym membership, and then slowly over time it fades, right? And in our businesses, it's so common for us to lose the spark that we once had, and for us to turn entrepreneurship into our new 9 to 5, in which we are showing up and we are actively participating, but the feelings, the passion, the excitement isn't there. And I want to preface this by saying, I'll always be honest with you. And the reality is that in entrepreneurship, it's never going to be something where we face no hardship and no challenges. There is never going to be a point in which there is not some sort of responsibility on our plate that we're not excited about. But the key here is for us to recognize when we have lost our passion, when we feel no sense of excitement, and when the majority of our days and our time and our energy is spent in a place of just simply being there. We lose our passion and we lose our excitement when we are so stressed and when we are so overwhelmed from the busyness. And so this is why we see usually women who have reached a lot of milestones, and to others may appear that they're on the top of their game, sometimes are the most miserable people who are struggling the most internally, because that success has been created from a place of busyness and always on and hustle and serving everybody around them and sacrificing themselves. And so that creates this feeling of this non-feeling, truly, where you're in a place of apathy or you're truly numb. And when we are numb, the issue with this is that we can't feel the good or the bad. So for 10 years of my life, I numbed with drugs and alcohol. And what I know from that experience is I created the blurriness and the lack of being able to fully feel with the intention to numb any of the hurting parts of me. And in that process, I also numbed all the parts of me that understood my potential and my greater purpose and who I could be and what I could do with my life. And so that is why in this position, when we become numb from the stress, from the anxiety, from the overwhelm that is brought on by busyness, that is why it's a dangerous place to be. So it's not just about feeling excited and passionate all the time. It's about being able to fully feel. And I know from experience, obviously, I spent 10 years numbing with drugs and alcohol, but that was quickly replaced when I removed that by numbing and coping in other kinds of ways, throwing myself into health and fitness, throwing myself into work and entrepreneurship. And so it's taken years for me to unravel the reality of and truly give myself permission to fully feel my emotions, to where I recognized that no matter how successful I became, no matter how much money I made, no matter how many people I was serving, no matter how many good things I was doing in the world, my writing of my book was a huge awakening for me, because I wrote that book in 2020. I hit the bestseller in a few categories. I self-published on Amazon, and it was like in the categories that I put it in, it hit bestseller pretty quickly in a few of those categories. And I remember not knowing what to do. And I was like, this is, now looking back, it makes me emotional even thinking about this, because looking back on that, writing a book is something that most people never do. Right? We all have these fantastic stories and this great life experience and this expertise in ways that we can serve and help people. And I took the time and the energy and the effort and invested to write a book that became a bestseller, and I felt nothing. I didn't feel proud of myself. I had no idea how to celebrate myself. It just was this moment of numbness. And I realized at that moment that not only had I spent a lot of time trying to numb myself and protect myself from the feelings, any sort of negative feelings, but by doing that, I had prevented myself from feeling the good. And that's why this is so dangerous, because if we don't allow ourselves to feel, then we miss out on everything. And we're so afraid of feeling the negative emotions because we feel them, and then we try to cope, whether that's with alcohol, mommy wine time, we try to cope by making ourselves even busier, distracting ourselves with work. And that's where we have to recognize we have no feelings anymore. We're simply just doing. And we don't know who we are anymore. We lose our identities. And so the feeling of excitement or passion, when you spend a lot of years in entrepreneurship, numbing or coping or both with busyness and distracting yourself with work, the reality is that we become people that aren't fully living. And I spent 10 years of my life not able to fully live. And so it was in this moment after my book that I was like, why am I not allowing myself to feel these emotions? Why can I not feel? Why do I not know what celebration and excitement feels like? I was so used to numbing that I didn't know how to feel anymore. And so this is the danger of busyness as a distraction. And we don't feel excitement or passion because we don't feel at all. And so if we want to learn how to feel again and how to fully experience life so that we are not diminishing our own accomplishments, so we are not making ourselves smaller, so we aren't missing out on joy and happiness, we have to learn how to reconnect. So let's talk for a second about why we actually need passion and excitement, especially for our businesses. When we lose the excitement and the passion that we have for our work, we lose the ability to sustain. And when we cannot sustain what we are doing, we stop doing it. And so I feel like this comes up in every single episode in some way, shape, or form. But obviously, everything that I do and teach is rooted in longevity. We're here for the long game. I play the long game. I've done this for 13 years. I want you to play the long game. I don't want you to feed into the short term, instant gratification, faster is better that we've all been pressured to adapt to. We need passion and excitement because we need to be able to feel our experience as humans, and we need it in our businesses because it is what refills us. So a lot of the work that we do year after year is mundane, it's boring. There's things that are not super exciting. So how do we counterbalance that? We counterbalance that with things that drive us, that excites us. There is few things better for me than the feeling that I have in my body when I am speaking to clients, when I'm in a room with clients, when I'm actively teaching, coaching, holding space for, strategizing, thought partnering with, conversating with in this dynamic relationship with my clients. That feeling and the feeling that I hold afterwards, the sense of pride and the sense of excitement and the sense of joy and my ability to see like how they're stepping forward and what they're stepping into and how these changes are going to affect not just them but their families, that to me is my fire. That is what keeps me lit up. And so we need to have some instances of this in our business. And while it can't be everything that we do, if we find that the majority of what we're doing, we don't feel this, that is a problem. And that is a problem because when it feels boring, when it feels like there is nothing that we are working towards, we start to have an internal freak out because we're supposed to evolve. That's usually the discomfort of change when you recognize, you're doing something, it's not sustainable, you can't sustain running your business a certain way, you're too stressed out all the time. And that's why you keep having these like knocking feelings in your brain and your heart that are like, hey, it's not the way it's supposed to be. And you can try to ignore them, but they keep coming back. Right. And so in your business, we all intuitively know when we've outgrown something, when we're doing something that's not serving us, when we have clientele that maybe is, not communicating to our standards, whatever it may be. We know these things and we try to just suppress them because we want to keep the business running. But the reality is that the more instances that we have of that in our business, the less likely we are to have longevity and sustainability that we need. That is where true success is built. Because if we're built to outlast, if we say and commit to, I'm going to live a life where I can fully feel, where we say, I'm going to live a life where I can fully feel and experience all of it. And because I'm committed to that, I'm going to honor my own emotions and evolution when it comes to my business. This is where we have like those feelings of needing to pivot or recognizing after we've grown personally that then we have to grow professionally, that we want to do things differently in our business. And that's why entrepreneurship is harder, but better in a lot of ways. Because as an entrepreneur, your path is very connected to your personal growth. And so we need to have excitement and passion for our work because it is the thing that keeps us going. It is the thing that keeps us in the game. And we want to stay in the game because if we stay in the game, we impact more people. And if we impact more people, we leave a mark on the world that outlasts the time that we're here. And what is better than knowing that, getting to the end of your days and knowing that you served yourself well, you enjoyed your life, you have no regrets, and you fully utilized the purpose and the passions that you had? What could be better than that? And so think about that now. How would you, if tomorrow was your last day, would you look back and would you be proud of what you have done and who you have been already here in this space? It's a big question, but it's a question that we often lose sight of. Just like I talked about on, I think it was the last episode or the episode before, where we are so busy, we lose sight of our values and our vision. And we need to anchor into those things. So now let's talk about how do we get it back, right? Because this is deeper than we may have realized. So how do we actually get our passion and excitement back? We have to learn how to feel again. And that's going to take more than just you listening to me in this episode. That's going to take some inner work that you've probably been avoiding. That's going to take you being confident enough and resilient enough to, when you feel an emotion coming on, to actually sit with it and process it. We need to check out of our businesses and disconnect from them. And the biggest problem is you're like, I can't do that. I'm an entrepreneur. I can't disconnect. You can. It might look different for you. But if you really feel like you can't turn off physically or mentally from your business, then we need to set your business up differently. And that's why when I'm working with people, it's always a holistic view of how are you operating? How are you thinking? How are you being? What are the thought patterns that are making you contribute to the problems that you're seeing? How are you leading and how are you living? And then in the business, we're looking at, what are we offering? What does team look like? What does your support look like? How efficient are your operations? We have to look at everything as a whole. We have to. And the result from that is that you have a business that is not running you. You are the one running the business. You are in control of your life. We're not living in that heightened state of reactivity all the time. So we have to check out. We have to disconnect. We have to have time off from our businesses. I have podcasts and blogs that go into deeper detail of what that actually looks like and can look like. But that's what's important for you to know here, is that usually in this instance, your coping is going to be distracting yourself with more to-dos, doing more, and you need to learn how to be more. And we learn how to be more by taking away all of the to-dos and the tinkering that we feel like we have to do to be valuable or worthy. And so your business needs to be built for you to be able to do that. And if it's not, we need to have a conversation. So you need to check out from your business and you need to check in to your life. Presence is something that gets thrown around a lot. It's something that we think we want, but then when we're present, we're uncomfortable because we feel like we should be doing something else. And so I want you to think about checking in to your life, removing distractions, removing your normal go-tos that would be distractions. And I want you to think about, if you haven't felt it in a while, it will be foreign to you, but think about what it would be like to be in the energy of love, of joy, and of gratitude. Allowing yourself to fully feel those things will plug you in to everything else. Some of my most emotional moments are my moments where I allow myself to fully feel gratitude. Because honestly, there's a very real alternative path that I could have taken that would have made me not be here at all. And so the fact that I'm alive is enough for me to be grateful. We lose sight of what we've built and what we have now because we're always chasing other things, because there's comparison, because there's so much with social media that's always coming at us. And so you bring your excitement and your joy and your passion back when you become so anchored in what you have now, that you feel so abundant in where you are now, that naturally you get more. And you don't get more from the place of chasing. You get more of what your truest, deepest desires are, because you're so grateful for what you already have. So if you want to bring excitement and passion back to your business, what I want you to do is I want you to look at your business and ask yourself the hard questions of, what is preventing me from disconnecting? And then I want you to look at yourself and ask, what are the things that are preventing me from connecting, from putting my phone and computer away and sitting with my partner and having a deep conversation, from sitting alone in meditation with my thoughts? This is the work that matters, because this is foundational work and everything is born from here. If you're happy and joyful and fulfilled, you become a better leader, you become more creative, and you create better change for the world. So this is bigger than you when you work on you. And I want you to feel excited about your business. I want you to feel excited about the potential that you haven't reached yet. And I want you to feel that while you're anchored in gratitude for what you've already done. It's a beautiful place to be. So thank you for listening today. I hope this has made you think today and made you recognize that excitement and passion should be something that we're allowed to feel and something that we do feel on a regular basis. And if you don't, and you want to talk about making the changes that you need to make in your business and within you, we'll put the link so you can book a consultation call with me and we can talk about what it looks like for us to work together. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll talk to you guys next week.